Hi guys, welcome to our channel. My name is Dennis. I'm here with
Patrick.
Okay, so today we are here to talk about the Premier League. There are a lot of players in the game who are actually doing so well for their clubs. They are doing well this season, but we believe that because of the top performers, the goal scorers, the attackers, they are not getting much mention and they are not getting the accolades that they deserve. So today we are going to focus on the top 6 most underrated players in the Premier League. It's going to be exciting. We are going to look at some of their stats and be able to see where they do so well for their teams and why their teams are actually performing better this season. So Patrick, so what do you think about some of these players that we're going to look at? I think the Premier League, the media focuses on only those who are blockbuster, where they give you the news, but there are actually people in there who are actually turning tables without being seen.
Yeah, that's very, very true. I mean, day in, day out, every weekend, we see these less recognized players actually winning the games. Actually playing the good defense, being the best midfielders, scoring all the good goals. But for some weird reason, they're not well recognized.
Maybe it's not. Every media has a time span that they can shine a lot of spotlight on somebody. So probably they can't mention everybody. So probably it is good that today we get to go
shout
under
them
the
out.
minds and see who we can unearth for people to see.
Yeah, that's very
so. Let's start with one defender who is doing very well in the season. Actually, last season too, he was really great. I was actually expecting a top 6 team to have gone for him in the window, but I'm 100% sure that
you mean during the last summer?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure that this coming summer definitely
radar of quite a number
exactly, and that's Nikola Milenkovic. The Nottingham defender. Nottingham defender. What do you think about him?
Solid guy. I think he is a very dedicated defender. I've seen him make very critical blocks during their games. It's actually helped Nottingham to be where they are actually last season. It's amazing.
He's able, anytime he's in the team, he's able to let them get a good clean sheet. He's actually able to keep 9 clean sheets.
9 clean sheets.
That's actually quite great.
That's very impressive.
Exactly, and he's a leader. You see that he organizes the defense. He talks a lot to the young lads around him, and I'm sure if he's not in the team, they'll really miss him.
And I mean, for a defender, for this season, I think he has about 2 goals. Which is very impressive.
Great.
I think you see, these are the sort of players that I believe that the top teams, when they are in a fix and they need maybe a defender to come in and do something at a very reasonable price. These are the kind of players I think they should be looking out for.
But what is his age now?
I think he's quite old. I think he's about 27, which is a bit worrying when
because right now most of the big teams are somewhat going for youngsters for their rebuild. But 27, actually he's at his peak, and I see how a team can go for him, because a team like Tottenham would actually use
you always talk about experience. Some of these guys at your back line
exactly. And he chips in with the goals as well. This season for a defender, he's given 2 goals in 20 appearances, which is not bad at all. So I think he is somebody who is doing well and needs to be looked at. Now let's move to the next player. This one was one of our own. Our very own Antoine Semenyo. Yes. What was your feedback? I know that he gets a lot of stick when it comes to playing for the Black Stars. Of Ghana, but I think in the EPL, he's a different player altogether.
He is actually. I mean, when we always have the chance to speak about football, I always mention Semenyo. He's a very tactically disciplined player. I've seen him score very wonderful goals. And at every point in time, I realize that we have strikers or he's an attacking midfielder who normally like to stay at the front and wait for balls, but he always falls back, helps with the defense, moves in. And I think for his age, he still has a lot of room to actually explore other teams. He's a 25-year-old boy who has been doing very well for the past years. I think it's very impressive. He's doing very well.
Currently, I think this season he has 6 goals.
He has 6 goals and 3 assists.
That's actually quite good.
Very good.
But why do you think he struggles when he's playing for the Ghana Black Stars?
Well, I think the first most popular one that is out there, the pitch, which always comes up. I know. Then, of course, one thing we never should take for granted is your teammates you play with.
100%,
the quality of the players that are around you would actually bring out the best in you.
True.
And I think he has that when he is in the EPL, Bournemouth. And aside that, I also think that when he's in the Black Stars, I think he doesn't get to play his real position.
Yeah, so he's playing as the striker.
Yeah, the striker. So it becomes a bit of a problem. But then, I mean, all in all, I believe that he's someone that is very disciplined and he will survive in any team.
If you're supposed to pick one top 6 team that next season probably should look at him or he should look at, who would you go for?
As in the team that should go for Semenyo?
Yeah.
I'll be very biased and say Liverpool.
What?
Yeah. No. I think that for Semenyo, I see that discipline, that hunger within him, and I see him doing very well, as in playing right behind a striker, and to be feeding balls and all that. Yeah. So I think I would look at Liverpool.
But do you think if you look at his demeanor, his characteristics, he's somebody who can take the pressure that comes with that spotlight?
Well, I think it's not easy. Yeah, it won't be easy for him. In fact, even if I pull Liverpool aside and he goes to any other big team, I think graduating from Bournemouth to become like a main person who we are going to be relied on in a big team is not easy. Yeah, but I think he has what it takes.
Yeah, I think
he has what it takes.
I think why I wouldn't go for Liverpool is that if he's going to Liverpool, the shoes he'll be feeling, there will be too much pressure, too much, because in the early he's basically going to be the one to fade out Salah, because he plays usually from the right attack.
From the right attack.
So you are looking at that and you think that will he be given the room to grow into the position, or there will be a lot of comparisons from beginning because they are comparing him to Salah and what he chips into the. I'm talking about his characteristics and whether he'll be able to face that pressure and it won't get too much into his psyche that it messes up, because in Bournemouth there's not much pressure. So you get to be able to do what you have to do, how you want to do it. But when it's a team that's going for something, the scrutiny is a bit more difficult, higher, and it's not everybody who's able to take that.
Yeah, but growth comes with all that kind of pressure. And I remember when Jota was coming into Liverpool, I kept on thinking that this guy was going to face a lot of pressure and all that. But in the beginning, he struggled a bit, but eventually, I think Semenyo will do well. It will take time for people to accept the fact that maybe he can't be a Salah immediately. But for him, I mean, I see him trying to get into the 18 box just like what Salah tries to do. He always find his way. Currently, we have a very few strikers who actually come at defenders. True. Now, a striker will get the ball and be looking for the next person to pass. But now, we have someone like Semenyo who's doing very well at that. Who come at you with
for a winger, most of them want to just beat a man and put the ball in the box. Salah is not interested in crossing. He wants to score. And I see that with Semenyo as well. So there is a similarity there. But it's more of whether he has a back shell enough to face the criticism and grow into who he wants to be. That's a whoever comes to that Salah's position, I think it's not going to be easy, because there's such a huge boot to fill.
Too huge.
And I hope that if he is the one that they choose or they pick, he'll be able to actually meet the standard, because it raises Ghanaian football to another level, because the times where we had such big players in big teams, it gave a reputation whereby when we came into the African continent and we played some other teams, it gives us some advantage. And now those are things of the past. Let's go to the next player, who I think is also doing amazingly well this season. For Brentford, Bryan Mbeumo.
Bryan Mbeumo.
Yeah.
Solid guy.
Yeah.
Solid guy. Look, Charlie, that guy will run the whole 90 minutes. Until he scores, he's not going to give up. He's a young chap, 25-year-old. In fact, he looks older than his age. And I think he's done very well. I mean, this season, he has about 13 goals.
Can you imagine?
He's actually competing.
Yeah.
And then for me, I believe that people like that who are in the EPL should be really looked out for. And teams that are looking out of beefing up their squad. These are the sort of players that when you bring them in, because like we were saying the last time, in a season you have FA, you have Carabao, you have Champions League and all that. So some of these top teams can look out for some of these players who can come in and augment the team as and when they are.
What I like about him is that when Ivan Toney was leaving Brentford, everybody expected the team to really struggle for goals.
That's true.
Because they didn't bring in a replacement for Toney. But between him and Wissa, they've been able to actually hold the fort.
They have.
And they are actually chipping in the goals between the two of them quite well. And I know that definitely next season, a bigger team is going to look at him. Because he's been consistent enough. 13 goals with 3 assists. I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, almost striker level, and he's not even playing as an out-and-out striker. So I mean, he'll do well in any of the top 6 teams.
Well,
I mean,
any of
but
those teams.
I don't know whether he's okay going to play second fiddle, because most of the top 6 teams, I don't know who he walks straight into the first team. He may have to prove himself to get in there.
But I'll boldly make this statement.
Yeah.
And I believe that if Mbeumo should find himself in a team like Arsenal,
yeah,
he should be able to be going into the first 11.
How? It means he has to replace Saka.
No.
That's the position Saka plays.
Well, and I also believe that, just like, okay, maybe not get the first 11, but in times like what Arsenal is going through now, when Saka is not available and you're saying that because of him they are losing games and all that, if this guy was around.
But that's the point. Is he prepared to go and sit on the bench and wait for that?
No, but some of these players wouldn't mind getting to the top team or some of these like well-recognized clubs and be on the bench just to come in.
Well, I mean, if you believe that you can be able to take out a player ahead of you, I mean, you back. And
you never know. Sometimes you go in as a second fiddle.
You
a player gets an injury
able to show what you can do.
Yeah, they place you somewhere. So I think you do very well in any of these top teams.
Yeah, but Brentford basically are very direct. But most of the top teams are always facing low block.
Yeah,
and that is where I feel, I don't know whether he will be able to show what he's got, because his speed requires space behind the defenders. So if you are always facing teams that are going to sit back where you have to find a way to unlock, I don't think he will be a good fit for a top 6 team.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure he'll find a way. You see, if you watch Mbeumo very well, he's a very dynamic player.
Okay.
And I believe that he can adjust in any team he finds himself in. The guy is a goal scorer. He's a hungry guy.
Yes,
And all he needs is a coach to guide him on the kind of play they expect him to put on the pitch. And I'm sure he'll do exactly that.
Okay.
So I'm sure he'll do fine. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go to another guy who is doing so well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think there's enough attention on him and enough praise for him. That is Matheus Cunha in
Wolves. Yeah, Matheus
I think
Cunha.
Basically he is your star man, and he's doing so amazingly well. What do you think of him?
I think he's brilliant. I have seen him in games that it looked as though he was not doing anything for the whole 90 minutes, but he scored. And he's so physically fit.
Yeah.
And at every point in time, the 50-50 balls, he'll go in for it and he takes it.
Yeah.
I mean, he has 10 goals this particular season.
Can you imagine? 10 goals, 5 assists.
Yeah, I mean, 10 goals, 5 assists, which is very brilliant.
There are 15 goals and assists. I think that's really top level.
And sometimes I just wonder how these guys are not really well mentioned, because every time I watch a Wolves game and I see him, I'm like, this guy is brilliant.
But I see the only thing he contributes is not just goals. Actually, he's able to carry the ball forward. He holds his team up very well.
Yeah.
So he actually contributes so much more to the team in terms of the attack.
Yeah.
And he's somebody who is the most dangerous always.
Very.
If you're a defender, you give him space, he's going to worry you.
Yeah.
And so, we played them, and I remember he was actually very, very dangerous. I think last season, I think he scored a hat-trick against Chelsea, if I'm not wrong. Or at least a brace against Chelsea.
He's solid.
Yeah.
And at a certain point when we thought that Wolves had sold all their good players.
Yeah. Some of these teams actually do well. They're able to scout and get it. I mean, like somewhere like Brighton, no matter what, we bought Caicedo, and now they have Baleba, who is doing so well.
We took away Matheus as well.
Exactly.
They survived.
I'm sure by next season, someone will go for Baleba, and they'll go and find, I don't know, the scouts are doing amazingly well.
Yeah.
So maybe the big teams, instead of going for just the players, to look at poaching the scouts to come and work for. I mean, why go for the fish when you can go for exactly. That's the thing.
Yeah.
The thing about him that I'm a bit worried for, whether he can get old, just like he's 27.
He's 27, yeah.
So I don't know whether a big team will be, because he's at his peak now.
Yeah, that's the problem sometimes.
Exactly. But some big teams actually, Tottenham goes for established players. So that could actually be an advantage. And I think they are missing a bit in creativity. Maddison has not really done it this season.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So exactly. So maybe somebody like him coming in, Richarlison has also not done it. So he could actually add in the goals for them if they look at it.
I think they could look at him and see if they can.
Yeah, they can.
Squad, yeah.
The other player that, I mean, he actually been fitting well at Manchester United. Playing alongside Bruno, because they don't have a lot of goals in the attack.
But if you observe Manchester United, as like they're also now looking at getting young players.
No, but for the level of players that they have, how old is Bruno? 27 actually comes about younger.
Well, let's see.
Yeah,
let's see.
The other player that I want us to talk to, he's actually been a veteran in the Premier League. He's been everywhere, but not in the top teams.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's been a low minor in the mid-table teams, and he's actually been killing it. I don't think he gets the praise he deserves because everywhere he's gone, I think he's been one of the most worrying strikers for defenders. That is Chris Wood.
Amazing.
Through his efforts and his goal contributions, Nottingham is second in the league. What do you think about it?
Chris Wood is amazing.
Yeah.
And he scores all the kind of goals we know the top goal scorers in the league score. A long distance shot, he'll do it.
Yep.
A tap in, he'll do it.
He
a
has
header,
the experience.
A curler, he'll do it.
Yeah.
He's and this is the typical guy that you can use experience to describe.
Experience, exactly.
He doesn't rush on the balls.
Yes.
But when it matters most, he will deliver. A 33-year-old chap. 13 goals for this season.
He has a composure.
I
mean, he doesn't have pace. What he lacks in space, he shows in technique.
Exactly. And that is where the experience comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah, he doesn't. And you should observe him the whole game. He only runs when it matters.
Exactly. That's the point. You don't have a lot of energy to burn.
Exactly.
So he uses it to be efficient.
And it's crazy because day in day out I watch Nottingham Forest games and I'll be like, oh, Chris Wood wouldn't do that much.
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing is that even if he doesn't score a goal, he makes sure that the 50-50 balls he goes in for it. If he has to assist, he's going to do that. And he's amazing. And for me, at his age, I still feel as though that he has a lot left in him to deliver.
That's what I was saying the other day, that every team needs someone like this. For the young strikers or whatever position they are playing, to learn from.
That's
because what he contributes to the game, if you are a young chap and you're actually understudying him for a period
and you want to learn,
definitely these are the veterans of the game. These are the guys who have been there and done it. And if you're able to, because he still scores the all-time goals that the Premier League is known for.
Exactly.
You understand?
He scores
he's still
the all-time Rooney balls. Those things.
Shooting from outside the box, and he doesn't care about connecting. If there's space, he shoots. And half of the time, he goes in there.
What happened to our long-distance shots in Premiership? Lampard and Steven Gerrard.
The game has become too scientific.
The game has become too scientific
to the point where players are afraid to shoot from outside the box because coaches are running on it. It has become everybody wants the Guardiola style, tiki-taka and then tapping.
It makes it a bit boring sometimes. You keep on hearing the fans saying, shoot, but they never shoot.
Because we are forgetting that the game is not only about the results. People want to live through the experience.
The experience.
Exactly. So you have your Rooney shooting from the center line.
The famous Tony Yeboah shot, those kind of balls, you don't see them anymore. You don't see them.
The Roberto Carlos free kicks and all that.
You don't see them anymore.
You don't see them anymore. So you see a lot of strikers who don't even have the technique of shooting, like Jackson. You understand? He's not able to shoot, put his foot through the ball. Half of the goals that he tries to score, if he was just putting his foot through the ball, he'll score.
Straight in.
Exactly, but he's trying to either finesse it or do something ridiculous and he end up on the floor. So Chris Wood is doing well.
He's doing amazing.
His contributions have been very, very superior. Because where Nottingham Forest is, he has contributed a lot for it. Then let's come to one other guy who I feel that with him, I'll say gradually he's now getting the props he deserves, and rightly so, because so when he came in, nobody expected him to actually make it because we assumed that his body size, the way he is, he wouldn't actually be able to cut it in the Premier League. But I think he's able to show us that it's not about that, it's about mentality and it's about being talented and having the technique. And now I'm happy that he's getting the props that he deserves.
Not as expected though.
Well, I mean, he's still building it. I think if he's able to maintain this season and next season, he will actually be. But right now, if you talk about the top 5 strikers in Europe, I think you mentioned his name there. Alexander Isak. In Europe, yes. Okay. Alexander Isak.
Yes. Solid guy. Isak is amazing. And I have studied that guy. You would always believe in him when he gets into the 18.
Exactly.
And you deliver.
He scores all kinds of goals.
You score all kinds of goals. He's always hungry for the ball. I've seen Isak stand in the middle of the pitch, move back because the ball is not coming to him, pick up the ball, run all the way into the 18.
He has
and tries to score.
Certain similarities like Jackson. They are very good on the ball. Yes, and they're able to dribble and do all kinds of things. Just that his finishing is better than
his finishing is amazing. And in this season he has 15 goals.
15 goals. Can you imagine? 15 and then 5 assists.
5 assists.
That's 20 goal contributions. And out of 25 games or how many games? 20 games.
Out of 20,
Can you imagine?
It's a solid record.
Of course.
For a young chap like him who comes into Newcastle and turn things around. You know, so I think that these players will survive in any other big team.
But you know what annoys me, you know? Now, Chelsea needs a striker. Arsenal needs a striker. A couple of teams need a striker. And they're all now mentioning him. What were the scouts doing
before?
Because when he was available, nobody, I think from Sociedad or wherever, nobody actually
paid attention.
Cared. Now that he's coming, if I was Newcastle, I'm placing a 200 million on him. Flat.
Wow, on Isak.
Oh yeah. Because
that would be crazy.
When I
that's like another Caicedo and I make it.
When I keep him, I'm getting my results.
Yeah, if I let him go,
I let him go, I get my money. So it's a win-win for me. I don't see why they should even tolerate it because it's annoying. The big teams need to start scouting, and that's where the problem is.
So let me ask you a question. When you look at a player like Isak, and look at the top teams we currently have, which team do you believe that he'll fit in perfect?
He'll fit in greatly for Chelsea.
Okay.
Because the chances that comes in, you see, our chances are not straightforward. It comes in all kinds of shapes and forms. And he's a finisher. Whichever way you give it to him in the box, he'll find a way to put it in there.
You'll find a way.
Exactly. That's great. Arsenal too, with Odegaard in there, they could actually feed him some great balls. And I think he can do very well there.
Okay.
Between those two teams, I think he will fit in any of them quite well.
Okay. Yeah. But then I still feel that in the Newcastle team, one other thing we shouldn't take for granted is also surrounded by very good players.
He is.
Who actually feed him a lot. And the thing I've realized with these players that we've mentioned is that normally when they find themselves in a different team or maybe these big teams, you have so many stars in these particular teams. So they might not be too recognized or shine as much as they are in these current teams that they're in. And as much as they might be doing very well, you know, so these are some of the pros and cons. Sometimes some of these players weigh and see that do I think I should move or I should enjoy my fame and banking the goals currently here?
No, I think
especially if the money is good.
Currently, he's 25 years old. Newcastle has been a bit disappointing from the fact that when the new owners came, there was a whole noise about the club now being the richest. Club.
You remember when they happened? It was all over.
But for some reason, I'm hearing stories of they are broke and they need to sell players and all that. So I don't know what the story is in there, but for them, one of the ways or one of the only reasons I see them losing Isak is if they are not in the Champions League and they are not playing to compete for trophies.
Because then financially they need to make something.
At his age, within the next few years, he's going to decline. So he needs to start winning stuff. So if in the next season or two, Newcastle don't bring in players that shows him that we are going for the title or we are trying to win something, he will be tempted to move because he's too good.
There'll be a lot of pressure on him during the summer window. Because I know a lot of guys will be going in for him and trying to get, and there'll be ridiculous price tags to have to put on his head.
Well, I mean, he's ended, and I'm happy for Newcastle because they gave him the chance and they've been able to unlock a gem. And if everybody likes him, they need to put in the dough.
That's true. Anyway.
Simple.
All right, guys. So these are top 6 underrated players. We believe that you might have your own opinion, but this is what we think. We'll be sharing more of these players that we see in the EPL that are not well recognized. So subscribe, follow us for more information. Cheers.